all, and welcome back to the Homestead. I have decided to title this series, This Farm is a Mess. I'm going to try and find the book so I can read it to you, but there is a book called This Farm is a Mess. And it goes through and talks about how the farmer had just completely given up and gone to the city to go figure things out, and the animals actually cleaned up the farm. Which isn't wrong if you're doing a permaculture style of homesteading. The animals do clean up your farm, but not in the stuff sort of way. And right now we're dealing with the stuff just being everywhere. Part of the reason why we have a bunch of stuff is because we inherited this farm. I want to show you what we're dealing with that I did not bring to this farm. This is just here. And no judgment, please. I don't have time for that. If you want to be judgmental, this is not the channel for you. Yeah, this is stuff that I did not purchase and did not bring to this farm. My whole place looked like this when I got it. All hoses and baskets and barrels and crates, and I love this old barn, don't get me wrong. But it's a mess. So, because we're dealing with this giant mess on the farm, we're constantly having to work around things. Storage is always a fight because there's things that aren't mine here and things that are just broken or older and no longer usable. Some of them are antiques and actually need to go places that people can enjoy them and view them because there's some cool old farm stuff here. So with the goal in mind that we have winter coming, we always think about that here in Michigan. Winter is going to happen and it will be here, and we need to have a space for everything. 6 sheep, 6 goats, 4 pigs, chickens. Everyone needs a space. And everyone needs a space that's going to be warm and dry and clean and good. So all my pasture animals need to come into the barn for the winter. Now when I say into the barn, not literally. I would love to put some of my animals in the barn, literally. But that's not exactly where they're going. To be able, though, to create space and have good spaces, one of my goals recently has been to completely clean out the farm. We have to get our stuff so well organized that we can live on just our 4 acres instead of spreading everything out. Because I already know that I need to get all this stuff cleaned out and ready to go, I need to focus on doing that. So this week, right now, with you, we're going to start with the barnyard. Like I said, there's a bunch of things that I can't use in the barnyard, and I will have to find homes for it, whether I list it on Facebook Marketplace, put a free sign on it in the front yard, or if I decide that I want to keep it, find an actual good home for it. There are things that have to come down. This building behind me is one of the items that has to come down, and it's been used as storage for a long time, so there's things in there. All of it has to be cleaned out. These are little things that I find are hard for me, like mental block against getting rid of anything, because I haven't been able to do it for so long, and then it's like, well, now what do I do with the stuff because it's not mine, I didn't go through it and sort it, and trying to pull out things that could be more heirloom-esque. I don't know if it all makes sense, but this is what I'm doing this week, and so I'm bringing you guys along. Today I thought I'd start with just the easy stuff, the obvious, the stuff that we know is not gonna stay. Like these boxes that are completely broken and rotted. There's some here that are smaller, and there's some here that are bigger. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna completely take down, tear down, and clean out this section of the barnyard that is just broken boxes. What will we do with these broken boxes and all these pieces of wood and all that? Because, there's things you can do with them. Well, we're not going to do anything with them. It's rotted. So we're just going to burn them. And 1, it takes up less space in our dumpster. And 2, it creates ash for the garden. Which, as Joseph said, a little bit of ash goes a long way. Sometimes when you're working, you find things like broken glass. This is just part of having a barnyard. And if you don't have a barnyard, there's no shame in not understanding. I want to explain it to you. There are things out here that just get set out here because nobody knows where to put it. It's kind of like the kitchen island or that one spot that's in your entryway that just collects everything, but only for outside. And sometimes it collects panes. I'm assuming that this came from a window pane because of how it is. And yeah, it broke apart. So now I have a big mess to clean up over there, I just found. Okay, so you guys get the idea of what we're doing. If we find anything interesting, I'll let you know. And otherwise, I'll see you once we get more of this cleared out. Okay, so as you can see, we've pretty much cleared this out. I am finding much more glass than I would like, and I know exactly where it's coming from. This barn is old and has old windows. There's windows up there, and then these ones here. I am to the point where I'm just gonna pull these out and throw them away, put them in our dumpster. There is glass all over here from windows falling out, and that's just not what we want. We want to keep this space clean and good. While I don't ever recommend walking in bare feet in the barnyard, I would like to at least be able to not worry about the kids getting their fingers cut on glass if they're trying to pick things up off the ground. So I'm gonna continue getting all of the glass cleaned up and get that going, and then we have to go over to this side, which is a whole other problem. These boxes are much bigger and probably should be cut apart, so this section may require Joseph. Good morning, guys. As with many things on the homestead, we paused and stopped the project because there was something else that happened that was more emergent and needed our attention, and hopefully I will get back to that and explain to you what was going on. But we have been working more on this and came up with this brilliant idea to store our pumpkins here on these broken down boxes. I really wasn't sure what to do with them. And we still have one left, so I can kind of explain what's going on. So these are old apple bins. These have been here, I don't remember a time when they weren't here, honestly. So that is at least 14 years. They are falling apart, broken, no good. The wood on them is pretty well rotted, but they have a lot of metal components to them. And so it's hard to be like, yeah, let's just take these and, burn them. I would not want to burn the metal. That's not going to do any good. It's just going to make a mess in my fire pit. So instead, we needed some pallet-esque things to put pumpkins on, and we decided to move our pumpkins, which they needed to be moved out of the field anyway, onto these pallets. Now, I did not film this because I was not here. I had talked about it with my dad, just briefly going, hey, what do you think about doing this? And then he ran with it while I was at a doctor's appointment, and done. No big deal. The kids helped him get it done, and we are now, this is not even half of our pumpkin harvest, but this is what we use to feed our pigs. It's in the same barnyard as their winter housing, so this works really well. So the final things I have to do to get all this cleaned up here is get all the mess right here cleaned up, get that torn down, and then just sweep it all and use a magnetic roller. Here's a little video of that working. That magnetic roller is amazing, and it picks up all of the little pieces and bits and bobbles. I was just running it over the area in front of here to show you how it worked. I told you guys, the futuristic goals of this place are a little different than what we had initially planned. Even this past spring, we had figured we would use this kind of as a subspace and then really invest in the 26 acres that we've been leasing. Well, since the 26 acres are no longer going to be available to us, we have been trying to figure out how do we do this. And the only thing that I can come up with is we have to completely clean out the space that we currently have to be able to use it to its max capacity. So places like this, I need completely cleaned out and ready to go, so I have spots to store pumpkins, or like this little lean-to portion of this big old barn, it's old and it's not going to stay. This lean-to portion has to get ripped down. To be able to rip that down, I want to get rid of this first. So there's these like points where I'm like, we need to get all these things cleaned up and moved. And the next area that we're going to work on cleaning up is actually this. So this is a bunch of firewood for us. We do not have a wood stove, but we do have a fire pit. We're going to take this, cut it, stack it, put it in a space where we can actually access it and use it better. And this is my dairy barn right here, and on the north side of the dairy barn we're going to put a space for a winter housing for our bucks and our ram. All these things though, you have to move forward slowly to be able to do one step and then the next and then the next. It's not easy. This is a lot of work, and this is what we're doing daily. If you're ever wondering, it's not all big things and huge stuff. It's the little tiny pieces, the term, how do you eat an elephant, and one bite at a time. We know that we have 1 year to get this space the best it possibly can be for the animals that we have, so that we can continue homesteading and doing what we want to do. This is why I show you things like this. It's nothing interesting. It's nothing that you're going to be learning about in anything big, but I just want to share with you our everyday life and what we have going on. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up back here, finish that, and I'll see you when it's done, show you the finished product. One of the things I forgot to mention, and I realized it when I got going, and so I ran and got my camera equipment to talk to you. So when we're burning this, we're doing the ash for the garden and other field spaces that we're planting, but there's also all these little pieces of just wood and debris, and they're kind of in wood chip style and they have bugs all through them. I actually give those to my chickens and they love it. So piles like this will go to my chickens and give them a little bit of a treat. Alright guys, we finished. This is it. I hope this gave you a little bit of a glimpse into our daily life and the things that we do just to make our place a little bit better each week. Until next time.